All right. Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Hey, it's Tom here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Everybody did manage to jump on. I was initially a little bit afraid of some low attendance because of some weather we're having all across the country, but attendance is pretty good, and I'm glad to hear that. We're going to have a pretty good call today. We're actually in the middle of a dealer training over at in Manchester, our 3-day training, and it's going pretty well. But I wanted to skip out, and I ran back to the office over here to go ahead and do this call because we have some guests today, much like we had last week. We've got the folks from Easy Pearl, who are the group who I talked about, who I've been talking about for, I guess, probably. It's probably been 6-8 weeks now, because I think it represents one of the best opportunities that we've been able to put together in terms of our centralized marketing campaign this year. And I keep driving home to you guys that sorry, I was reading a couple of comments and questions there. I keep trying to drive home to you guys that we're able to be able to kind of harness the power of our volume more than ever this year. And you know, when we started to reach out to to some centralized type vendors to put together some marketing campaigns, this is one of the ones that I think we've been able to get sort of the best pricing on, and it's all about the ability for us to be able to put together some volume. So we've all done direct mail in the past, or most of us have. I know I've done quite a bit of direct mail myself over the years, and it's changed and it's advanced and it's gotten better. And one of the things that drives the price down is clearly the ability to be able to put together some volume. So I talked to lots of different people over the course of the last, as I began to try to put together a couple of quotes to do some direct mail. And actually, I'm going to, Chelsea, you guys were right. I needed to send you an audio pin. You probably should have just got it. And as soon as you enter it, I'll be able to unmute you. So I apologize for that. I'll keep talking. I don't have a problem doing that. You can type in or just let me know when you get it. Maybe that was it. Nope. So I invited, basically what I was saying is I tried to put together a couple of different options. Yes, Chelsea, I sent it, and you should have got it. Just type into the thing when you're able to verify that you're able to get it. Sorry, guys. I was kind of running around this afternoon because we were over at training, and it's been a hectic couple of days. We had a total of 14 companies scheduled to do training with us this week, which included a couple of different existing applicators coming back. And we got this weather. We actually took a look at canceling the training towards the end of last week because that nasty storm was traveling across the country, and it was sort of sketchy there for a little bit. But we decided to go ahead and continue on, and unfortunately, the storm just continued to get bigger and grow. And on Monday morning, when we started training yesterday, I got there early, and the snow was just beginning to hit New Hampshire right around the morning commute, and it didn't go well for us. We had a total of 3 companies able to show up, and we had people sleeping in airports. We had one guy who got stuck in the Newark airport. We had a couple people traveling up from Pennsylvania who were unable to do it. So it was a combination of a couple of things. One, obviously, you guys have to plow. A lot of you are out there on the road plowing, And some of you just got held up in traffic, didn't want to get on an airplane, or certainly didn't want to jump on the highways and try to weather the storm. So we were unable to fill the room, and for some reason, yeah, Keith is typing in there that he wants to be a weatherman in his next life, and I know what he's saying because they screwed up the forecast. Chelsea, I'm going to continue to send it, and I don't know why you're not getting it. Every time I hit the button, it says that you've got it, and I know we probably should have tried to iron this out beforehand, because I'm not going to lie to you, this is how my week has gone. Lo and behold, there we go.
Hey, Tom, are you there?
Yeah, you know what? I can hear you. So you know what? I'm gonna. Did you like the way I kind of danced around there for a couple minutes? These guys are used to me doing that.
Very nice, so very nice. We're having visions of people sleeping in airports and plowing their.
Yeah, it's been like that. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys. Actually, I'll let you guys introduce yourself. That was actually not a bad thing because we had a few more people jump on the call over the last couple of minutes. So without further ado, go ahead and take over and just let me know when you want me to move the slide, and I'll go ahead and do so.
Awesome. All right, great. Well, welcome everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to meet with and speak with your team at the BeeSafe Organics and the dealers and distributors. Wanted to introduce myself. My name is Tej Kohli. I am the CEO of a company called Easy Pearl, which you'll learn a little bit more about today. And I'm here with one of my colleagues, Chelsea Pletz, who is our marketing manager.
Hello, everyone.
So on this rather cold day in the Northeast, it's a good time to get that popcorn out and watch a little show as we go through this deck. Certainly appreciate, Tom, the opportunity to speak with your, with your colleagues as far as, to sort of carry forward on what you'd mentioned during the intro here. Easy Pearl is a company that specializes in bringing intelligence and more efficiency to the direct mail program. So in terms of our capability as a company, what we specialize in is an area of marketing called one-to-one marketing. We're marketing that at least creates the perception in the mind of a target that you as a company or as a product or service provider is outreaching them, the targeted audience, in a highly personalized and meaningful way. Now, Easy Pearl has been doing this for several years. In fact, our business is a subsidiary of another organization called Indros Group, which is short for Interactive Direct Response Services. Indros sort of began its, as an origin, began its business several years ago in 2002, and launched Easy Pearl in 2006. So for the last 7 years approximately, we've worked with well over 1,000 marketers worldwide, marketing organizations, to deploy upwards of 60,000, maybe 70,000 direct marketing campaigns that leverage much more integrated, meaningful, conversational style marketing. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. In our discussions with Tom so far, we've learned a lot about your organization, or at least the service that your various organizations provide in concert with Tom and with BeeSafe. And what we've developed working with him is, I think a very interesting approach to your spring acquisition program. And, we're excited to potentially help you deploy that. But at Tom's request, what we decided to do today is give everybody on this call a little overview of how our service and our solution works. So, everybody's as educated as possible and is able to make the decision for themselves on how valuable this integrated approach to marketing can be, and hopefully be willing and able to participate in a cooperative marketing push in the new year. So Tom, I think if you think that's a fair intro about us, we're happy to move on to the next slide. So this here represents, guys, a kind of summary of what the integrated approach to our marketing enables for a traditional direct mail program. So what EasyPearl does is, in addition to creating and deploying traditional direct mail, campaigns, which can include, your postcards, your self-mailers, letters of any type, as well as certainly email marketing, what we do is we create what's called personalized URLs for direct mail and produce dynamic or variable landing pages, which are essentially online response options to these direct mail programs, which, again, I'll speak about a little bit more during this call. We also provide various additional options to enhance direct mail, including setting up emails that can follow up targets, used to follow up targets who respond to direct mail messages. We provide capability to track direct mail as it travels through the various states of the country, and this is done through our relationship with the United States Postal Service and a technology called Intelligent Mail Barcode Tracking. And this provides, a pretty high degree of confidence on mailers to determine exactly when their mail arrives in home. We also track the overall performance of direct mail and direct marketing communications via an online reporting dashboard that our clients have access to that provides you with, a complete 360-degree picture on how your direct mail programs are performing. So, with that, Tom, if you wouldn't mind moving over to the next slide. So, guys, this little three-step process that we'll go through will kind of describe how our service works. And by the service, I'm specifically referring to the personalized marketing service, because as I'm sure we've already discussed today, and during your past conversations with Tom, most of you are very familiar with direct mail. So our focus today is in really providing you with sort of that additional level of detail and information on how what we call pearls or personalized URL marketing can benefit direct mail programs. So the first thing that we do when we are engaging in a direct mail program is we generate personalized URLs and or personalized QR codes that are imaged onto every mail piece. Now this is essentially a personalized URL, as you can see, and it's kind of rough to see because of the small font, but in this case, the two images that are on this screen, the gentleman and a young lady, RobertAyers.easypearl.com is his URL, while BeckyBright.easypearl.com is the URL associated with Becky on this in this simulation. And Becky and Robert, in this case, are potential targets of a direct mail program. I want to emphasize, though, that the personalized URL does not necessarily contain EasyPearl's domain in it. The URL might be, really anything that, that might promote your combined services as a part of the BeeSafe community. So let's move on to the next slide, Tom. Now, once a user receives their direct mail piece, which has the personalized URL and or the QR code imaged on it, they are taken to a landing page or a web page that is personalized to them. And this is accomplished, guys, because we have everybody in the target file, every mailing list member has their own URL, which is variably printed on the mail pieces, resulting in unique landing pages that can be opened for each person. Now, what's interesting about these landing pages is that they can be personalized with graphics and text that can relate back to them, or certainly be based on other variability and targeting that we know about that individual or group of individuals we may be going after. So as we move on to the next slide here, what we do at EasyPearl is essentially using this technique of having a unique response URL or QR code for every individual in a direct mailing. We're able to provide very comprehensive and detailed tracking on every individual that responds to that direct mail. Now, this is extremely important because, and I want to pause for a second and emphasize one particular aspect of the personalized URL approach of direct mail marketing that really helps it stand out amongst any other technique you might employ, and that is that with the Pearl, even if the user, let's say Becky or in that case Robert, were to visit their landing page and not complete a response, they would still be tracked. So, hypothetically, a candidate for a lawn care service that you guys may provide that might visit their website or your website to learn more about the service that is being promoted through this spring promotion, even if they chose not to fill out a lead request at that time, we would still be able to report back, because every URL is unique, that this particular individual took a look at your offer and was somewhat interested but wasn't ready to pull the trigger all the way. Now, what's great about this, and as we move forward, what we'll see is that this really works extraordinarily well. This method works extraordinarily well with the current trends that are affecting the way direct mail is consumed today. According to the Direct Marketing Association, the de facto standards group that manages direct mail marketing today and studies it, they report that over 68% of people prefer to respond to direct mail online. Now, what this means is that even though most people still, I think, prefer to receive direct mail as opposed to email, because we all know how clunky receiving massive volumes of email makes our inboxes daily, and that noise is really tough to make sense of anymore. So direct mail does stand out much more effectively than email. But the response behavior has changed tremendously. Instead of filling in the BREs and the BRCs or instead of instead of responding to campaigns via email, instead of responding to the campaigns using a phone number, using the direct mail approach and the personalized URL, people are visiting the website and checking out more information, and that's a tendency that's expected to continue to climb. And we can all relate to this. How many times do you receive a business card or a brochure or a direct mail piece, and the first thing you'll do is, when you're sitting down at your computer the next time, is check out the company. You may still call the phone number, you may still choose to fill out a form on a BRE, but you will most likely take a look at what that company is about. And that's really what we're capitalizing on using the personalized URL. Tom, we can switch to the next page, please. Great. So now this particular example that we're showing you of a personalized URL is an example of what you might incorporate into a landing page or into your direct mail piece. JohnSmith.LusciousLawns.com is an example of a web address that might be imaged on a postcard that's sent out on behalf of every distributor and dealer. Now, in this particular case, the name of the recipient and the personalized URL is the first part of the name. The last part is the domain name is where the offer is incorporated. And what happens is we're essentially able to use this technique to capture the attention of the user, because when they see their name imaged into the URL, it tends to make them much more likely to want to learn more and feel like there's something special for them on that page. It allows us to capture responses effectively because every lead is automatically tracked online. And finally, it allows us to set up future opportunities because as those leads come in, we can trigger email follow-ups and other types of back-end engagement marketing that's very difficult to do if everything is not already digitally encoded. So that's, these are the things that work together to potentially boost direct response rates by, and I know this is a bold statement, by up to 400%. Now, that's not necessarily the case in every campaign. It all depends on how the personalized URL is used to intrigue people. But, it's usually very common for a campaign that leverages a personalized URL to outperform one that doesn't. Now, we've already kind of hashed these bullet points, but I'll just reiterate for the benefit of everybody on this call. Leveraging pearls in a direct mail program will enable that program to accurately track every web response, will help boost conversion rates, will personalize that communication, and also increase the speed and efficiency of the lead retrieval process. So these are, typical benefits that effective online response options drive, any kind of direct marketing communication. So the next few slides talk about, some of the issues facing direct mail today and how, using these types of effectiveness. I'm not going to invest too much time on these slides because I think we've already kind of covered this. Not having a personalized marketing initiative in today's environment will certainly help or will certainly cause customer retention and target retention rates to drop. Not having an effective web response option creates confusion amongst the minds of the direct mail recipients. It slows down the speed at which you can follow up on leads, and it certainly will affect the conversion rates. Now, some examples of leveraging personalized URLs that that companies employ is, leveraging this to direct shoppers to a personalized web page, leveraging pearls to include survey questions, providing customer incentives to, to encourage them to respond, and certainly to provide and transmit leads to sales teams. Now, I want to just focus on one thing, which is the incentive type program. One of the things that we certainly will recommend, in terms of enhancing the response rates on your direct mail communications that works really well with pearls is to provide some type of incentive to the user for filling in the response. And because that incentive drives people to their website and we're able to track that lead and we know that that person has visited their website, we can use that to potentially create two buckets of leads, what we call the warm leads and then the hot leads. And this is key because, as you might expect in any type of action that you expect people to take these days, it's tough to get 100% conversion rate, which means that, and I know, that's a very high number, and what I'm not referring to is 100% conversion rate on the overall direct mail, but 100% conversion rate when somebody expresses an interest. So, how many times have you visited a web page? Have you looked at an offer online or even called a customer service rep only to decide, hey, I don't think I'm ready to provide my contact details? Now, that's where the personalized URLs really shine, because when the user arrives at that website, that's already an implied expression of interest. At this point, they've already said, hey, I am interested. I am interested enough to take a look at this and want to learn more. But I'm not yet ready to give up my information, but we are able to collect that. And why that's material is because that list of warm prospects is really a very valuable list that can be nurtured and potentially even contacted and, and leveraged in terms of, maximizing the overall reach that your direct mail program can result in. We use that tactic at our company very effectively. We oftentimes will contact people that visit our website because we know they're visiting from a personalized URL, and they're always intrigued and it makes them want to continue the conversation. So let's keep going, Tom, and hopefully we'll have some time for some Q&A after this. So guys, this is what we've done here is provided you guys with some examples of, and again, I want to emphasize these are not by any means the creative that would be employed in your direct mail. These are just samples that are trying to stay somewhat industry specific. On the left-hand side is potentially a postcard with a personalized URL that's directing people to their landing page. Now, typically on the landing page, we would leverage some type of incentive, as well as potentially, if it makes sense, show an example video or something that engages the audience and makes them want to fill out their information. And as we move on from here, what happens is, as soon as they fill out the form, Tom, if you don't mind skipping over to the next screen. This kind of workflow actually describes the entire step. So we've got step one, customer finds their direct mail, finds their personalized URL in the direct mail piece. So let's move to the next step. They visit that website. In this particular case, because the system is dynamic, we're able to populate variable dealership information, logos, contact information on this page. So every response every responder is conscious of your brand and your local dealership information and who they're responding to. Once that response takes place, if we could swap to the next slide, at this point, an alert can be sent out either via text message or even an email to a smartphone. All the way to an email that goes out that you can check when you're back at your desk. So these alerts are a great way to immediately call that prospect back, because now you've got that lead right at your fingertips, and there's no better time to engage with a prospect right after they've requested some information, because that information is at that time top of mind. And that's the key thing that differentiates, technology-driven direct mail and direct marketing today than your traditional approach, which is that in, a highly distracted environment where people are, they're being hit from so many directions across so many channels. It's very important to take that interest and leverage that opportunity as quickly as possible. If you don't have quick follow-up, you run into what's called, the half-life factor of leads. Every day that a lead isn't followed up with, you're losing a certain percentage of them to other alternatives or to competitors, or potentially to vacations or holidays or other things that keep people busy and unable to take your calls. So we move on to the next slide. What we'll see is that, we wanted to give you kind of an example in the automotive industry to help you, kind of see that entire experience from start to finish. In this example, we've got I picked this particular example because, it's also dealership-based marketing. The idea is that, Audi is promoting services on behalf of, the dealerships that are localized. And you've got a personalized URL that's sent in a card, which when clicked on, and if we go to the next page, takes the user to a landing page where we're verifying information, we're greeting the person by name, and as we go to the next page from here, we're able to survey them and ask them relevant questions that qualify that lead. So how awesome would that be if the leads that are coming into your inbox from your direct marketing are not only, hand raisers that say, hey, I'm interested in learning more, but potentially get some data from them on, when they're looking to potentially leverage, the BeeSafe product, when, for instance, they might be interested in speaking with you, the size of their lawn, things like that you can leverage to, provide a more effective, quote, not to mention decide for yourself if this individual is really a qualified prospect. And then most importantly, by throwing in this send valuable service discounts to my email, we're essentially capturing that email address, which can be used for quick and prompt follow-up after the fact, and be used to build a lead database that you guys can remarket to. Or using our technology, we can provide automation on the back end, so these people can be sent newsletters and information on a regular basis that will hopefully nurture them and build a larger pool of targets for next season. So if we move on to the next page, and here we go, you've got your thank you page where the customer is presented with an offer based on their responses. So, we may be able to use this to give them a payoff for going through the process. Based on certain survey information that we collect, we can maybe give them a certain discount factor or some sort of percentage off their service. And, that is, to a large extent, the entire workflow. And as you've probably seen how easy it is, and because it's kind of a stepped approach, it provides a very nice way for people to consume the offer, the information. They're not intimidated by lots of data that they have to fill out in one step. Neither are they intimidated by the fact that, it's a very heavy salesy approach. And then you've also got the benefits of not having to fill out a card or a response of some sort. So, all of these things basically combine together to create that, that relationship that you're sort of beginning with your intended target. And, I want to give you as a final leeway here an example of some statistics on a campaign that, again, in the dealership function, if we move to the next page, Tom. This is an example of some postcards sent to potential prospects by a Honda dealer, or essentially by Honda on behalf of their various dealerships. And if we click to the next page, you'll see that the results were pretty remarkable. We had a web page conversion rate of 66.6%. and an overall response rate of about, close to 2% on the direct mail program. And this resulted in twice the number of cars sold versus previous year were only 44. So you're looking at, almost, a 100% increase in ROI on this program. Both years were done with direct mail, but certainly, and now if you're in the automotive space, and especially if you've received offers from dealerships lately, you'll see almost every marketing communication incorporate some sort of what we call cross-media linkage, which is the personalized URL, the QR code. You probably see them in magazine ads. Our company, which is the leading provider of Pearl technology worldwide today, probably through our network of partners deploys, 1,000+ campaigns a month for automotive direct marketers nationwide. So, it's a very popular program. And, it certainly is not limited to, automotive. We've got clients in every potential industry. So that's kind of the overview. I think there is one more slide. There might be, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. So we can, that's the show, guys. Hopefully this provided you a strong case and some information that you can use to evaluate for yourself, what this type of technology can do to a direct marketing program. Tom, at this point, I'd be happy to take any questions, or if you have any comments, you're welcome to take the control of the audio back, and I'll be happy to stick around if folks want to continue the dialogue.
Yeah, Ted, if you don't mind, I'm going to leave you unmuted because I've got a bunch of questions, but the questions are all mainly about this last slide right here. And I'm going to,
Okay.
do you have a couple minutes? Can you hang out for another 10, 15 minutes or so?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, I'm going to actually mute you because there's feedback, but I'll unmute you if I see the feedback is skipping in my head and I'm stuttering. So I'm going to mute you and I'll unmute you when I need to. So the question, obviously, for you guys is this going to work and what's the return on investment? And I wanted to bring up a couple of examples before I get to that. So at GIE, a month or so ago, I was talking to the CEO of Spring Green. And Spring Green is a competitor of yours in most of our markets. They are a national lawn care service who's done pretty well. They're a franchise. They're not everywhere. They're not in the Northeast. They're not in the East. But most of you know who they are. And the CEO was telling me that they've made a renewed commitment to direct mail just in the last couple of years. And they've seen that their response rates, and they aren't using a personalized system like this, they've seen that their response rates have really, really increased in just the last couple of years because very few companies have continued their commitment to direct mail. There was sort of a backlash with direct mail, especially in lawn care. You know that True Green and Scott's, and it's a really very common way to market in lawn care. And the mailbox started to fill up, right? I mean, there was a lot of junk mail. But they've found that in the last couple of years that it made sense to make a renewed commitment to direct mail because they saw the response rates go up significantly. So the question remains, if I do something like this, what's the ROI and is it worth it? So over my years at Lawn Dog, we did a lot of direct mail, and that kind of carried over from our years in the corporate company. And let me tell you a couple of the metrics that we used to plan on. Now, it's different for every market. Every market, the response rate is going to be a little bit different. For instance, in Boston, it was lower than it was in Portland, Maine. Our highest response rate came from Albany, New York. So it depends. It depends a lot on your demographic or your market or sort of I think it has most to do with the rat race type situation. In a place like Boston, people get a lot of junk mail. In a place like Portland, Maine, they don't. Albany seems to be the sweet spot. So we would budget, almost exactly. Well, I know for a fact we would budget exactly what the response rate was the previous year. But for instance, in a market like Albany, we would get 0.8% back on our offer. So we send a direct mail piece. 0.8% would arrive back. So I mean, just some real basic math. If we sent out 10,000 pieces, we'd get 800 leads, and then we'd close them at about 60%. I mean, we get 80 leads, right? So 10,000 times 0.008, 80 leads, and we'd close them at roughly 60%. So that would equate to 48 sales at roughly $400 per year. That's about $20,000 in business. So the numbers work out well. When you add this type of personalization, it's a slippery slope when you start to make some sort of a prediction with what your response rates were going to be, but we know for a fact that they will go up. And these numbers here are really, really promising. Because we don't have any specific historic data on that, you can't make any promises, that's for sure. But, Tej, I'd wonder if you could speak to that just for a minute.
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
I don't want to make any promises, but let's talk about the metrics a little bit.
Absolutely. So, guys, it's really science. I mean, it's interesting. Marketing over the last, few years, and certainly with the incorporation of digital tracking, has really become very much of an analytical sport. I mean, always was with direct mail, but I think the capability is now so much more available. Not to mention, the feedback and the ability to analyze information is almost instantaneous. So, unlike, in your typical approach where you might send out direct mail, we've been in business since before this type of tracking capability really was available, and before we, to some extent, pioneered it ourselves. We work with direct marketers who would send out, various test segments and different types of mailings, and wait for weeks in order to crunch the numbers, and several more months before they were able to get that accuracy. So, when we speak about the response rates, there's just a few things that I want to highlight that will hopefully, give you a sense of why this is not just, a way to boost response rates, but it's also the only way to market anymore. Especially if you're involved in direct mail. If you look at the various channels today, there's really 4 key channels, guys, that people consume information in anymore, or I should say the most popular channels. You've got your direct marketing channel, which includes direct mail. Then you've got your email channel, which is, and then you've got your social channel, your mobile channel. Now, if you consider direct mail or direct marketing as, as a single channel, then you've got, besides that, which is what we oftentimes do, you have, broadcast, you've got, outdoor. So what we're able to do is tie together the various channels, and that's really where the response lift comes from. So in a typical direct marketing piece or a direct mail piece, the options that existed before were, hey, here's a phone number, please call us, or here's a BRE or a self-paid, a prepaid BRE or BRC you can write back to. Now, if you look at those 2 options, which are the most prevalent options, in fact, probably the ones being used by your competitors, Tom, what are the upsides and downsides to them? Well, let's look at phone. Obviously, it's a popular way to respond to direct mail. It's easy. You've got your smartphone or you're next to your telephone. You pick up the phone and dial. Now, the BRE or the BRC has become a lot more difficult, especially nowadays with the fewer post offices nationwide. Not to mention with the fact that people are just used to clicking a button and sending communication, and the idea that they have to fill something out and drop it into a post box and then wait for several days for that response to come back to you. So, in the psyche of our dynamic today, what the DMA has found is that there is a growing number of people that have gotten accustomed to using the web and preferring to use the web as the primary way that they will communicate. If you've been to websites today, you'll see that little box at the bottom that says, start a chat. Now, you may not be one of the people using it, but there are people that use it, and that's why that type of service has become popular. You may find, email and online forms on websites all the time. In fact, nowadays, most of the best sites have them right there on the home page as a way to quickly fill in information, because it's a low-impact way to request information without going through the heavy sales pitch. And more importantly, they're catering to an entire slice of people that have gotten used to it, accustomed to consuming information that way. So what we propose with our service, we're certainly not recommending that you pull any channel away. What we're suggesting is adding the Pearl as another option to respond. So if you put it in that context, guys, what you'll see is that with the addition of a personalized URL, let's say you were expecting a response rate of X% on your direct marketing campaign, the Pearl will only help you tap into, a new segment that is basically come about over the last several years that are choosing to respond to direct marketing that way, and that will help you boost your response rates and add those additional individuals. Not to mention the fact that the personalized URL contains their name in it. Just like personalizing anything with the name, it encourages you to pay a little bit more attention this personalization with the URL inspires people to engage with it as well. So all of these sort of techniques together feed the science, if you will, of the response rate. So, you're right, Tom, it's very difficult, and I'm sorry for the long-winded response, but I wanted to put this in context of everything else. In today's environment, and certainly there's no way that anybody can predict the response rate of a campaign. There's so many things that matter: the copy, the creative, the content, the offer, the response options. But what we're doing is enhancing that capability. And then there's the other piece, which is going to be the killer value proposition, I think, for you guys, is being able to capture those people who are not responding. So if 10 people visit the website, or 100 or 1,000, and if we use the same example, let's say you have a 1% response rate, to your direct mail, and you send out 500,000 pieces, that means you might receive, 1% of 500,000 is 500. So you might get 500 leads as a result. 500 leads.
5,000.
5,000. You're right. If you get 5,000 leads, of the 5,000 leads, a certain percentage of those people visited the website and didn't fill out the form. So let's say the site is converting at 75%. That means 3 out of 4 people fill out the form. That means you've got another, potentially 2,000 to 2,500 leads that you would have access to because you know who they are. And that's really, really powerful, because you're now getting 3 names that didn't exist before. And that is really one of the other value propositions of using this.
A couple other questions, and I'm going to go through a quick thing here and scare these guys even more, because sometimes I've got a process that they're like, I'll show you in a minute. But Keith is asking who develops the landing page. It would be part of the package, Keith, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So what we worked out is, we would help you essentially develop out the landing page as a part of, the overall strategy, which would be branded and, completely synced up and in concert with the colors and the theme of the postcard. So and even the follow-up email that might go out, would all be a part of that same brand, reinforcing that relationship all the way through.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna put you on mute here again for a couple minutes, just because the feedback is killing me. But so guys, this is the way I would see something like this working real quick. The piece would look like this. It'd be a general direct mail piece. We'd bring them to a landing page somewhat like this. But when you start to, how we're kind of all about speed and we want to do the one-call close or even the zero-call close, and I know you know where I'm going with this right now. If we can incorporate into our landing page this sort of deal, imagine if we put on the landing page, this is my ever-so-faithful made-up company, this widget that will allow somebody to put in their address. So say we do an offer, or you decide to do an offer that says, save an extra 5% when you do your own estimate online. So what would happen is somebody would get a direct mail piece with a pearl on it. They would get to that landing page. This widget would be here that would say, enter your address. It would take them to this real quick. We could remove this lead capture right here. That doesn't have to be in there. We can take that out. It takes them directly to the satellite image of their lawn. So direct mail piece in their mailbox. They see it. They see their name on it. They wonder what this is all about. We've identified them as somebody who wants to use your service in the first place because of our data. whether we're talking about the niche or the demographic or whatever, that depends on who you want to advertise to. We get them to this landing page where they go ahead and enter their information. Then they go ahead and measure their lawn, and this is where I know that you guys get scared, but I don't think you should be. They measure their lawn, they click through, and all of a sudden, literally within seconds, they've got an estimate that they can click through for. So you're essentially taking out the entire middle process. And I know some of you aren't completely ready to do that, but this is the kind of thing that's going to get you ahead. If you're able to put together a process where you can identify your prospects, where you can get them to your collateral, where you can give them a powerful offer, where you can make the ease of use very, very simple, you will make a ton of sales. This is going to put you way ahead of anybody else in your market. And that's why I brought up Spring Green, because they've made that commitment to doing something like this. When you begin to integrate some of our own technology into the process too, you're going to be making sales without ever having to do anything. And I think that's that's a really important point. So I believe in this sort of thing in a big way. I wish I could have gotten my hands on this back when I was trying to grow my business. This is the sort of thing that most of you wouldn't have the option to be able to do without the volume we can put forward. So there was a couple other questions, but I think we answered most of them along the way. Does anybody else have any questions? We got a couple of comments about how people have used direct mail in the past and it has worked well for them. It's a lot of timing. It's a lot of the offer is important. Yes, absolutely. Totally agree with that. But this is something that you could build into your marketing plan, and I know for a fact that you'll see a pretty incredible ROI. This is something that will work. I know it for a fact. So we've gone an hour, and it wasn't my intention to do that, but I say that every single week, don't I, guys? Tej, thank you very, very much. That was exactly what I wanted to do, because you were able to put together some very good points in a way that at times I struggled to do when I talked to these guys about it. So here's the contact information, guys. This is just another example where you'll be working with this company directly. I'd like to continue to talk to you about how it works, and I know we've got lots of our annual marketing calls one-on-one scheduled for the coming week. I know I've done a bunch of them already. We'll continue to do them, but this is something I like a lot. So any other questions, guys? Tej, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Chelsea, thank you too. So I'm going to wrap up right now. I'll talk to you guys again. I'm going to run back over to training to try to get to see how Chip wraps up and talk to those guys over there. So thanks again. I've recorded this. I'll post it at the resource site, and I look forward to following up with you guys again soon. Thanks, and thanks again, Tej. Bye.